Hello, and welcome once again to Uncanny Contemplation, where we think through, just really put it in our brain meats and really consider the macabre through the forms of art and gaming. We're back with some more Omen Exitio Plague. Jake Huntington, our favorite protagonist that's ever existed in a story. And of course, I'm joined here by the Trash King, Armadox.
Hello. Yeah.
You said hello.
Jake, oh man, Jake's been through some stuff this time. Do we summarize or do we just jump right in?
I can summarize. So Jake is an award-winning soldier who did exactly 1.5 missions and then got to leave the military with honors. I think he's been in the military for about 2 months, 3 months. It depends on how long boat trips take in the time period we're in. But yeah, so everyone got infected, and we used our one cure instead of using it to extrapolate and figure out how to make more. We used our one cure on a small child. And now we're
We did in fact. We saved the kid.
we did.
And doomed many more.
Yeah, because now we're going back to London, and we probably are infected. So it's going to go great. It's going to go great. So let's see what Mr. Huntington is up to this time. I'm sure it's going to be good. And if it's not going to be good, well, that's not my problem. I didn't write it. Let's see where we are. Oh, all right. We're in the Suez Canal now. Yeah. Suez is such an incredible sight, the canal glimmering in the sunlight as if it were beset with precious stones. Shore's crowded with boats of every possible kind, flying all sorts of flags. Despite being a British protectorate, the city seems to glory in its cosmopolitan nature, deserving its fame. It's the crossroads of the Western world. Here we are in Suez. We got the cool map. You find a place where you can observe the crowd without being seen. As soon as the thief passes you by, you follow him, trying to take your eyes off him and waiting for the right time to strike. Oh, right, this guy stole the journal that we just, ganked off of a dead body and said, "This is mine now. This is mine now." And
The journal went. You don't need it. Somebody else, succeeding in curing this place. No, Jake Huntington has to be the hero.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Give this to one of his loved ones? Pfft. But yeah, so as soon as the thief passes you by, you follow him, trying not to take your eyes off of him, waiting for the time to strike. Should you lose him, you don't think you can find him again amidst that throng of sweat and bustling humanity. You're smack in the middle of the Suez Bazaar. Your senses are struck by the smells and colors of the bazaar, floating around all of the stands, covered in goods you've never before seen. You feel sucked into an unfamiliar world, on the verge of suffocating you in this dense crowd of people. You have a hard time finding your bearings and soon lose track of the way you came. Oh no. The heavy...
We can travel through Zanzibar completely okay, but we get trapped in the Suez.
Yeah. Exactly. The jungle, no problem. A marketplace with foreigners. Oh, no. Oh, jeez.
Signs everywhere, posting where we're supposed to be? Never.
The heavy crowd made you lose track of the man, and now you're trying to find him again. But you already established that we'll never find him again, so I guess that's the end of the game. Suez's streets are all too crowded with British uniforms, and you struggle to check every single passerby. Then you notice some unusual behavior from one of the soldiers. He's looking about, but never stopping to examine the busy, extravagant stands. You move closer to try to observe him better, and finally you recognize the young man. You get closer to him, your eyes fixed on your target. You can't lose him now. You lay low, blending into a small group of people, replicating their movements so that you're hidden from the sight of the soldier. dancing in unison in a choreographed ballet. Suddenly, the man turns right in a quieter alley, farther away from the bazaar, and you're forced to leave cover and follow him there. You turn the corner and receive a kick straight to the face, making you fall to the ground, your nose throbbing painfully. Damn, we're good. You've been injured. Oh, how injured are we now? Okay, we're slightly hurt. Apparently the trip home healed us a little bit. That's good. Okay, you get up quickly despite having been hit hard. The thief is ready to fight. It seems he isn't going to run away this time. Do you want to attack him or do you want to dodge? Once again, we've got our 2 worst stats. We have no points in agility and 2 in fighting.
Man, we were a terrible soldier. Oh, man.
Yeah, we are.
We'll fight him. We have nothing in agility.
Yeah, it has slightly more chance of working. Oh, we succeeded. Shocking. You hit him hard, trying to prevent him from fighting back, and as you manage to slam him against the alley wall, you notice something sticking out of his pocket. It's Eric's diary! You grasp the notebook and hold it close, but the thief makes use of your temporary distraction and runs. You try to grab him with your free hand, pulling at his coat, but his jacket rips and you lose your balance. You fall on your knees and find the man's wrist a couple inches away from your eyes. You manage to get a glimpse of a tattoo sticking out of his sleeve. Gasp. Is he too Count Olaf?
A tattooed man in this time period? Never.
Yeah. I mean, it's an evil eye. I'm pretty sure just all these people are the dreaded Count Olaf. You manage to get a glimpse of the tattoo sticking out of his sleeve, and the thief sprints off and disappears down an alley. You remember having seen that tattoo already. It's identical to the one sported by the beggar you crossed paths with when you first arrived in Zanzibar. It wasn't the same man, you're sure of that. You wonder why such different men should have the same symbol tattooed on their wrist. It looks like the mark of some sort of secret organization or cult. We got an achievement.
Uh-oh, those are never good.
You were able to track down the thief and recover the stolen journal.
Oh, then yes, that was very good.
Yeah, we got 4 achievements. We got that one. We got getting a Medal of Valor. We saved the kid's life. We have a Colt Derringer. And then all the rest, we failed. We didn't have sex. We didn't find things in the evil well. And our friends died. So, all in all, more achievements than failures. Of course, our failures sound really bad, but, you know.
Small successes. Big Huntington. Friend Chaser.
Yeah, friend chaser, that's right.
Oh,
So we got 44 experience, which means we can upgrade one of our power stats. Do we want to put it in observation, medicine, or speechcraft?
we can't put it in fighting.
I mean, we could, but we saved up enough to boost one of the big stats.
Oh. Well, we used observation a lot, and speechcraft has saved us a few times.
It's true.
Let's go speechcraft. Let's make Jake just completely useless in basically anything else.
That's right. Head back, holding your pocket where you put Eric's diary tightly, lest the thief gets in his head to steal it yet again. You're glad you could recover it, but now you can't help throwing paranoid looks at every person you see on the way back. Lay off my diary. Spend the remainder of the day resting in your cabin, and when you look out to the docks again, the sunset's already painting the famous canal gold. Raising your eyes to the pier, you observe how it is now completely free of the afternoon hustle and bustle. An almost romantic sight. Captain Smith is waiting for you. Oh, so romantic. He's lighting a match for his pipe, and the sky's soft orange shades glow together before you. Huntington, please marry me and raise my son together. The end. It's an incredible sight.
For the time.
It's an incredible sight, don't you think, Huntington? He greets you thus, with a question floating in the middle of that painting-worthy landscape. His voice incredibly low, calm, and steady. I wouldn't know, Captain. I'm really starting to miss London. The military man turns to you with a frown, as if you'd spoiled the moment for him. He then blows smoke from his pipe and gestures at you to follow him. We have London at home.
Stop being a wet towel, Jake Huntington.
Yeah, basically, Smith takes you drinking to a port tavern. From your bewilders, it's just like entering a typical English pub. Wow. Atmosphere is the same you've breathed time and again in London. The changes your country has brought upon these lands are indeed staggering. Sit at a secluded table and order 2 beers. Huntington, I think you know why I brought you here. You're not sure. Captain's an unfathomable man. You don't know what he wants to tell you. Okay, so our option is Scott. Is this because of your son? Is this about the disease? I don't know why you brought me here. Or to make me feel more at home? That's the romantic option, I guess.
We're gonna go with the latter.
Make you feel more at home.
Yes. Perfect, Jake Huntington. Friend to all, you know.
The man observes you, frowning slightly. His gesture is enough to make you understand the idiocy of your words.
Oops.
Blame the narrator, man. The narrator is saying we were in a really romantic situation. Come on.
A little lovely. No, we're British. Oh, right.
I didn't know you were also a comedian, Huntington. You can't help but blush at the captain's comment. He's definitely better versed than you in the art of comedy. Oh, gosh. This isn't convincing me this isn't the romantic path, so... As I was saying, if you can manage to stay serious for a minute, no, I cannot. My son, Scott, is only alive thanks to you. My wife died during childbirth, and he's everything I have. Scott has come with me everywhere I was assigned, but recent events have made me think. Smith takes a long gulp of his beer. You dare not interrupt him. I have decided to leave the army. The news leaves you speechless. Smith looks exactly like the kind of person who was born for military life. Like he came out of the womb wearing that little soldier's outfit. My son's life and future are too important. I cannot endanger him again. I must be able to offer him a normal life. With 2 daddies, me and you. Again, this isn't really selling me on this not being the romantic path.
Alternatively, it took him getting injured for them to go. Maybe not having a 6-year-old in war zones is a good thing.
Yeah, pretty well. Do we agree with him that he should offer his son a normal life, or we should say no? Please take your son to the battlefield more often. Thank you.
Oh, that's a hard one. We did invest a lot of resources into that child living. Probably better for him not to be on battlefield.
Yeah, that's true. We might have doomed the world. I agree with you, Captain. Smith smiles at you and takes another large gulp from his mug. Smith pays for both, and then you stand and leave the tavern in its familiar London atmosphere. Take a few steps, and as soon as you're far enough away, Smith turns to you. His gaze is as stern as usual, but in his eyes you can see so much more. There's the enormous gratitude he feels for you, the kind of bond that will never be broken. Again, that's romance. Kiss him. Take this, Jake. And then he leans in and no. It's my London address. Okay, never mind. He's saying, come over anytime you need a hookup. I can be your booty call. Yeah. Oh. Keep it carefully, please. Should you ever need help, you need only ask. I endeavored it to you. Again, not really changing my mind on the jokes I'm making. Smith certainly doesn't seem the kind of man to make empty promises, and the stress he puts on the words, I am indebted to you, suggests that he will help you no matter what your problem is, with no questions asked. Slip his address inside your pocket, and together you walk back to the ship. The longest legged journey is still ahead. Alright, we got another achievement for gaining Smith's favor. And we have his address, and he's just written on a piece of paper, 9 Greycoat Street, London, Smith. So.
Oh, he's local, close by. Lots we can do here.
All right, new chapter, Homecoming. The long journey is over. In front of you lies London. I can tell because there's a picture of Big Ben on the page. Fumes rise from chimneys of the houses, filling the sky with a grayish air that tastes like home. Delicious, delicious pollution.
That sounds awful.
The bitter smell of the city streets, large, efficient factories, and the scuttle of horses on the cobbles. You're finally back, and it seems like the city wants to welcome you, embrace you like an exile coming back from a long adventure. You take a carriage, and you enjoy every single moment of it on the way home. The Victorian houses offer a spectacular uninterrupted view, an endless celebration of the greatness of this English city. The nostalgia and melancholy you felt during last week's finally become joy and happiness in viewing all the streets and monuments you have loved your whole life. Even more than your wife, who's dead. Maybe. The carriage
we see her an awful lot for her being dead.
Carriage stops in front of your house. You're drawn to watch it as it pulls away. It's been so long since you last saw one. Seems different, maybe bigger. Try to embrace reality. Entering the house and exploring every corner as if it's the first time you've been here. Can't help but ask yourself what it's going to be like renewing old habits. Yet whilst climbing the stairs, painful memories resurface with each step you take. It feels like you're suddenly in one of those nightmares that haunted you in Africa. You stop at the room's edge. Your body is paralyzed with panic and hesitation. You'll never forget that in that very room your beloved Helen took her last breath.
Sell your house.
So we can either enter the room after working up the courage, or we can decide to never go into our bedroom ever again. Because we don't want to remember these moments.
In perfect Jake Huntington fashion, I think we should repress everything and go back to soldiering.
That's true. Yeah.
I forgot why I was not wanted to be here. Let's go.
Whoops, is this my house? I don't even know. Stop in front of the door, and looking at it, you think about Helen's disease and the pain you felt. Too many bad memories are linked to that room. Hands on the knob, but you don't have the strength to enter. However, you intend to stop this strange African disease from killing more innocent people. Really? What? Where did that come from? You press your fingers on the knob as if to force your own determination. The doorbell rings. You leave these thoughts for a moment and go downstairs to open the door. You wonder how anyone might have known of your return so soon. As going downstairs, you see a figure through the frosted glass of the door. Approach the door, and despite the blurriness, you recognize the person waiting there. It's Meyer, our German friend. You hesitate, but decide to open the door. With a polite greeting, the German asks to enter your house, and you can hardly refuse him. Man looks around with curiosity, examining your furniture, then asks to sit down in the living room. You read his request, since it's apparently an ordinary courtesy call, although you notice the suitcase Meyer has with him. Meyer sits down as he continues to examine your furniture, as if he were actually interested in you as a person. The man leaves the suitcase near the armchair and crosses his arms in front of him, with unnerving calm, before deciding to speak. I live here now. Huntington, maybe we started out on the wrong foot, and I think you misunderstood my role in Africa. We only seek your help. The German's presence in the middle of the battle at the rebel camp was undoubtedly a surprise. You're not sure if you can trust him, but you can't decide what to do. Are we intrigued, or are we uninterested?
You shot all my friends, and now you want to move in? I mean, we are looking for a friend. That is our main goal.
All right, we'll be intrigued. We want you to study the disease for us. We have a common goal. We'd like you to find a cure, too, and we're sure the man with the necessary skills and motivation to find it. Your thoughts turned to Helen in her agony. If you had had help, if someone like Meyer had reached out 1 year ago offering support, you might have done something to save her. Man picks up the suitcase behind him and places it in front of you, opening it with some theatrics. You remain speechless, seeing the contents. Money, more money than you've ever seen before. It's just filled with pounds. This is to let you carry on your research in a satisfying way. I hope it's enough to convince you of our good intentions. Once again, your thoughts wander among several questions. Wasn't this all you wanted? With all that money, you could start 1, 2, maybe even 5 simultaneous research projects to study the disease and defeat it as soon as possible. How many lives could you save? On the other hand, you don't know Meyer. You know nothing about the organization he belongs to. The man seems elusive and very careful in regards to disclosing information. You don't know whether he's trying to cheat you or what he wants in return for such generous economic help. Should we refuse the money or accept it?
Absolutely, we will be accepting the money.
Yeah, please. Oh, it says we're in London. Let's see. Yeah, we're definitely in London. All right. Yeah, let's take the money. So I'd accept Meyer's offer. There are many peculiarities that surround the German and the people he represents, but his motive seems noble. Yeah, sure, why not? Moreover, this money can start your research right away. You can even find a cure quickly to defeat the African disease. You'll see us soon, Mr. Huntington. We will want to know the developments of our investment. Oh, wait, that was supposed to be investment. I thought you were just giving me free money. Shit.
We can take this money and go back to Zanzibar.
Having said goodbye by raising his hat, Meyer heads to the end of the street. When you no longer see him, you get back into your house, closing the door behind you. Back in the living room, you glimpse at the suitcase, swallowing your nerves. You wonder whether it was a good idea to accept his offer. Well, we got an achievement for accepting the money. So clearly it was the right choice. The encounter with Meyer, with Meyer has left you full of doubts and uncertainty. You know nothing about the interests of the people he works for, except for the fact that they're too looking for a cure for the African disease. You feel dazed, you need some time to think about it, but you also need to rest. You go upstairs, trying to ignore the knot in your stomach, and soon you enter the bedroom. You reach the bed and let go of your words, exhausted and hoping to sleep immediately. Wow, we sure stayed out of the bedroom for all of 5 minutes. Oh, it's too painful to be in the bedroom. Oh, I'm tired. Bye.
Well, we are now rich enough that it doesn't matter if we have, pains or not.
That makes sense. Yeah, your hopes are soon denied by bitter insomnia. You stare at the ceiling and toss and turn beneath the bedsheets while you dwell on the past few weeks. You enlisted and went to Zanzibar, escaping the demons that haunted you, but you have found new ones over the course of the journey. One in particular seems to have invaded both your mind and your nightmares. The disease. A new opponent has unexpectedly entered the game. He awaits your next move on the chessboard, whose pieces represent the lives of the innocent. You grab a pawn and feel as if you're ready to take them on and challenge the disease, but who can tell whose king will fall first? I don't know. I don't know about this chess metaphor, but okay. Okay, we just got an achievement that says we finished chapter 1. This was all chapter 1?
Oh no. This game's way longer than I thought it was going to be.
Okay, sure. Thanks. Dear London. Globe Road, London. Through a short time has elapsed since your return, and nonetheless seems like a strange, distant dream. House is definitely silent, with only occasional muffled sound from the world outside penetrating the wall, but in your ears there are echoes of gunfire and shrill screaming. Screams of injured soldiers and pestilent dying men. Since you've returned, you have felt an unshakable fatigue. It's called depression. A small conflict, a strange epidemic, and a long voyage. Over the past month, your body is justified in demanding convalescence. However,
we're gonna go spend some time with Mr. Smith.
Yeah, however, rest alone will help expirate the memory of Zanzibar from your conscious and unconscious mind. Confronting this disease is your only option to keep your mind busy. Okay. We can use our medicine skill to read medical archives to try to find information. We can read the journal that we managed to get back and apparently didn't read the entire rest of the voyage. We can just think about the Germans. Just think about them. Or we can just take a nap.
Do we just have that thing of, money just like in the doorway? We didn't even pick it up. It's just there.
I hope so. Let's see if it's in our inventory. Is there a briefcase of money in our inventory? Let's see. We have no items, it says. Not even the note. We threw all of our items away when we got home.
Yeah. I think we should finally read that journal that we fought 3 people for, basically.
Yeah, pretty well. Decided that now's the time to have a better look at Eric's journal. You skim through its pages, and you're shocked by the horrors the young elf soldier describes. Human sacrifice, frenzied savages, and a creeping, insidious paranoia which begin to infect his small regiment. You gradually start to become morbidly fascinated by the story he's telling as you read page after page. Got 6 experience points. Eventually, however, your tiredness creeps up on you, and without meaning to, you fall asleep. Just a nice bedtime story. Slowly, try not to spill the tea which you've already put on the tray. You finish preparing your breakfast. Lifting it carefully, you walk to the stairs and start to ascend. You get to the landing and stop suddenly in your tracks, and you realize that you have made breakfast for 2. Aww.
Mr. Smith should come and, hang out with us.
I know. Raising your gaze to the bedroom door, you recognize the scene of your recurring nightmare. Feel like you know exactly what will happen once you enter the room. You feel queasy, not wishing to even face such mental anguish. You turn and start to head down the stairs. The moment you take the first step, you notice something under your feet, something dark. Looking down, you cannot help but let the tray fall and its contents shatter. It's a river of blood running down the steps. Turn back to your bedroom door to see that the blood is coming from there, streaming under it. Then you hear a rough and distorted voice trying to say something. It is your name.
Jake Huntington.
With a scream, "Wah!" You are suddenly awake. You are sitting. Your breathing is heavy and your heart is racing. Your blankets are bunched up and damp with sweat. Once again, you have dreamt of Helen suffering from the disease which you encountered in Africa. A sense of guilt in your subconscious is playing cruel tricks on you. Think back to the interminable hours you spent at the university library, eyes strained and bloodshot by the dim paraffin light of the reading rooms. Never a hint. The nature of the disease that killed your wife continued to be a mystery long after her death. When Helen died, you wanted to die too. So you joined the army. You even planned it out.
That makes sense.
And decided on the scientifically best method to poison. Once again, it was the thought of Helen that stopped you. You knew it was not what she would have wanted. She would have wanted you to fight back and do everything possible to stop other people dying or having to go through the pain of losing their loved ones. It's a remembrance of this thought that now once again gives you strength and resolve. With a lingering sense of terror from your nightmare, you get up, wash, and get dressed. You need to walk and to breathe fresh air. Well, too bad you're in London.
To be fair, depends on which part of London he really is in. Seems to be well off. Maybe he's in, like, the garden.
I guess it's possible. You never know. An old friend. Traversing Mile End, you reach the gleaming white facade of Queen Mary University of London. Time you spent here was intense, and you have mixed emotions seeing it again now. Some many pleasurable moments, but also the anguished final months you spent obsessively researching before your departure to Zanzibar. You skip up the steps at the entrance and go inside. The experience seems both old and new. Walk along the corridors full of voices and students. One of them appears to be in a great hurry and knocks into you painfully as he is hurtling down the hall. Sheets of paper and notebooks fly in all directions to the amusement of various student onlookers who have stopped to observe the scene. We gained 6 experience for being hit by a student. Good for us, I guess.
We just received the same amount of experience by being hit by a student that we did fighting for our life against one of the German with a knife.
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah. Similar amount of information was imparted, probably. Student, hey Fleming, don't your books teach you about how to look where you're going? We can reproach the boy, say, boy, be more careful. Or we can help the student collect his papers.
Does he remind us of our drunk friend?
I don't know. His name's Fleming.
Yeah. That's good enough. I feel like we should be kind to him.
All right.
We are a friend to all children.
We are friend to all. Fleming hastens to pick up his things. Please, there is no need to thank you. There's no need, thank you, please. As you return his papers, certain diagrams and formulae catch your eye. They represent rather complex notes of a microbiological nature. So we can question him about his notes, or we can let him go and not embarrass him anymore.
Absolutely question him. Make corrections. Tell him he got things wrong. That's the Jake Hunting way.
It's outside you should be running, boy, enjoying yourself, instead of dashing around here with these notes, which appear to be rather complicated. What is your name? Alexander, sir. Alexander takes back his notes and starts putting them in order. It's an awkward moment as it becomes clear that he must go, but is trying to figure out how to do it without being rude. There's no time to enjoy myself, sir. I have a whole course to catch up. I must go. Please excuse me and thank you, with your permission. Lowers his head and sets off again. In his hurry, he almost knocks into another student who growls at him menacingly. You watch him moving off, careening distractedly among the corridor like a clumsy blue bottle, pinballing all the way down there. Ka-tung, 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 ka-tung. Alright, we've met a new character. Well, I'll be Jake, you old rascal. You suddenly hear your name and immediately recognize the deep and cheerful tone of the voice saying it. You turn to see Reginald Chambers' sprightly face coming to welcome you with a wide, playful grin. Alright, so we've met 2 new characters. Alexander Fleming. Reginald Chambers, so we got a little bit of historical fantasy here, I guess. Reginald's a professor of pharmacology and the closest thing you've ever had to a friend in your years at this institution. So we can have a quick chat, or we can just say, fuck talking to this guy. We got a live to save. And just like, I don't know, probably we're just going to shove a bunch of money at him and it's like, research stuff. Hurry.
Sure. I think that we have the cash to give to all of our friends. Full on nepotism.
Well, should we just chat, or should we just skip the small talk?
We'll chat. We put all that effort into speechcraft.
Reginald, old boy, what's happened to you? Is the university wearing you out? You're looking thin. Reginald claps his belly and grins. At nearly 20 stone, his ample bulk rarely goes unnoticed. You know how it is, Jake. These students suck you dry. And since the retirement of Betty from the old university canteen, I'd say your old friend Reginald's lost a couple pounds. Aww. Reginald releases a deep, loud cachinnation? Cachinnation. Is that a word? Cachinnation. I mean, I assume it means laugh. Has anyone ever used this word before?
Learning new things.
What does cachinating mean? To laugh loudly or immoderately? Okay, sure.
I will be remembering this for the end of the year.
Tell me about you, though. What news of distant Zanzibar? Reginald, I'm not here on a social call, and I could really use your help. In Zanzibar, I came across a very nasty disease, something new and completely unknown. I'm heading to the library to find out more. It's completely unknown, and that's why it will be in the library.
Yeah, I know, right?
Reginald looks at you seriously for once. He remembers well the time you spent in the library obsessed with Helen's illness. The Queen Mary Library overwhelms you with its particular odor, a mixture of old paper, paraffin from the lamps, and a slight must of mold. You start refamiliarizing yourself and walk around until you come to the microbiology section, where a dark-skinned servant is busy arranging books. You find some potentially relevant volumes, but you're unsatisfied. Then your gaze falls on a stack of books that a man is arranging nearby. They seem ideal for your research. The man notices you looking at the pile and gives you a nod of permission. You gather them to the books you are already carrying and hasten to the central table. Reginald is waiting. Jake, old boy, what do you intend to do with all these tomes? No, wait, don't want to know. Whatever your intentions are, have no wish to deal with them on an empty stomach. Let's go to the pub and get something to fill our bellies. Unlike the library, the entrance to your own pub has a salubrious effect on you. Hasn't changed in the slightest since your last visit, and the tartan furniture is comfortably worn through in all the same places. Follow Reginald to your usual table, where you used to spend long hours discussing and hypothesizing various scientific theories. A barmaid comes over to take your order. Ho, Shirley, look who I brought along. Shirley puts a hand on her hips and throws you a warm smile. The old partner's back together again. I need not ask what old Reggie wants, but what shall I bring you, Jake? We can say we want nothing. Or that we'll have the same as Reginald.
Let's throw this for a loop. We want nothing.
I want answers, not food. Answers. So it surely goes off. You're piling onto the table some of the volumes that you took from the library. As you're doing so, you realize that one of them is not even a medical book at all. It's very curious to you because you were quite sure you had read all the titles before taking them. It seems to be a text on ancient Egyptian myths. Flicking through it with some curiosity, you come to a page that's been bookmarked with a thin red ribbon, and there, staring at you, is the symbol, an eye. There can be no question. It is almost identical to the symbol you encountered on your adventure. Is this merely an odd coincidence, or is there some sort of hidden connection? A flurry of interrogatives occupies your thoughts. We have so many experience points now that we're in London. You want to upgrade speechcraft again?
Yes, let's upgrade speechcraft.
All right.
And maybe fighting, because we have gotten rocked every time we've attempted to do that.
every point, like, costs an additional 10 over the last point. So that used, because we have so much speechcraft, that used, like, all of our experience to get another point of speechcraft.
Oops.
Realizing that Reginald is observing with a puzzled expression, you put the book back with the others and start telling him about the things which you saw in Zanzibar. You begin to get caught up in the fervor of your tale, but while your jovial friend keeps smiling all the while, his eyes begin to show a growing concern. Shirley reappears at the table, clearing her throat to make her presence known. You are so caught up with your tale, she has to do it again before you look up. She smiles at you, and you clear some books away so she can place a large plate of food in front of Reginald. Friend looks hungrily at his juicy steak and cheese-covered chips. You smile as he goes for his cutlery and starts eating. You, however, go back to reading a paragraph about skin sores. Let me see if I got this right. The disease causes fever, weeping sores, and ocular hemorrhage? The poor victims bleed from all these sores and they weep blood? I can only imagine the smell of their body's malefaction. Nodding, you notice a couple just behind Reginald. The woman pushes away her plate and the man stops midair with a fork full of food. Reginald's loud description has clearly and understandably ruined their appetite. The same cannot be said for Reginald himself, who's polishing off the last few mouthfuls of his meal and washing it down with an enormous gulp from his mug of ale. I heard about something similar just the other day. Some research by a microbiologist called Martinez Bejernik, describing a disease he's looking at. So we can say, where'd you read it? Tell me more about it, or I've never heard of him, is he reliable?
Dang. Where'd you read it?
It was in a scientific appendix of the Standard, one of last week's editions. Okay, we can say, tell me more about it. I've never heard of him, is he reliable? Or we can just say, I'm tired of talking to you about this. Just give me the paper, please.
Or just take the paper from him. Dang. Well, you know what? Where did you read? Or is he reliable? Yes. Let's start. Dunking on his sources.
As much as the Dutchman can be, I suppose. If you're asking me if I think he's just after fame, I'd have to say no. He's a botanist and microbiologist of some renown, and his studies have garnered a great deal of interest in the scientific community as of late. Tell me more about his stuff. Although he doesn't work on humans, Martinus does a series of studies that are apparently close to understanding the true nature of certain diseases. They're said to be discoveries that will change medicine completely. Would you still have a copy of that paper? Well, I may still have a copy in my office, otherwise we can easily find another in the university library. You hurriedly collect up the books from the table, pay the bill, leaving a generous tip for Shirley, and set off along the road, all the while admonishing Reginald to quicken his pace. After rereading the article several times.
Give faster.
Huh? What's that?
We're yelling at him to get faster.
Yeah,
Man.
Go. We're running out of time. I have to read a medical article. After rereading the article several times, you conclude that Bejernik's theories may well explain the various aspects of the disease in general, and this one specifically. This article, however, seems to be deliberately omit important information. Inform Reginald of this, who's observing you attentively. At this point, I think we should try to speak to Bejernik himself. So we can say, let's both go and talk to him, or we could say, there's something not quite right. I better go handle this alone.
We've been friends with him for about 30 minutes. Let's abandon him.
I mean, technically he was our cohort at medical school, I think. But, Yeah, we'll go alone. If you really think there's something amiss, then don't think for a minute that I'm going to let you leave me behind. Not another word. I don't think it'll be easy, though. He lives in Delft in Holland. So we can ask him for advice, or we could just say, I guess we're going to Holland.
Holland sounds real nice right now. Yeah, let's just go to Holland.
Yeah, I think we're going to Holland. Reginald grins. I was hoping you'd say that. You're already heading towards the door, mentally going through what you need to do to set off immediately, but then you realize your friend has stopped behind you. You turn to see Reginald stroking his chin, looking at you thoughtfully. The journey will be long and expensive. Are you sure about this? Maybe we should go to the bank before leaving. There is no need. I have everything we need. A giant briefcase of cash. Meet me at the port. You were walking with Reginald near the Thames, watching his face wincing comically at its terrible smell. The area around the docks is utter chaos, and it's not easy to avoid collisions in the jostling mayhem. Reginald's holding his bag to his chest.
Not doing so well as a teacher.
Yeah. He's constantly on the lookout for gangs of dirty, ragged street urchins. You cannot help but compare it to the port of Zanzibar, but quickly decide that here in London it is far less civilized and more chaotic. Finally, you freed yourself from the crowd and made it to the shipping office. Tell Reginald to wait for you with the luggage while you go and buy the tickets. Ticket seller. Good morning. How can I help you? Good morning. I'd like 2 tickets for a passenger ship to the Netherlands, please. You need not concern yourself over the price. The amount you were given by the Germans was more than enough. Okay, we got an achievement because we decided, well, we're rich, so we're just going to get a luxury cabin. I guess if we had said no, then we'd have to, like, I don't know, huddle in a squalid corner or something.
Yeah. Jake, how do you think? What are we going to do, man?
You and Reginald walk carefully up the narrow, creaking gangway onto the ship's deck. Turning back to look at the docks, you have a strange feeling of seeing London is already in the distance, as if those couples of yards were already hundreds of miles. You've been there for 2 days. A series of sailors shouts all around. The ship sets sail for Rotterdam. A very helpful sailor accompanies you below deck to show you your berths. Mary Rose, too, is a nice little ship that will allow for an agreeable and comfortable voyage. Sarah leaves you and Reginald in your new cabin. Okay, we could say, I must tell you I accepted some money for some Germans, and I think I may have made a mistake. We could ask him why he wanted to come with us. We can ask him for disease thoughts, or we could just sleep.
Jake Huntington regrets everything.
I do like the idea that you're like, I hope you like these accommodations. I used blood money for them.
God damn. We are in active combat with the Germans. Oh, I also took all of this money from the Germans.
Yeah, I'd be a bankroll by him. It's all good. Ask him why he's willing to come with us. Why are you willing to come with us? If you really need to know, I have 2 very good reasons to be here. Your friend smiles warmly and grabs his stomach. This here wants to try some new food. Haven't had a proper adventure since I was a student at the university, and I don't know how much longer I'll be able to have them. Reginald laughs heartily. You look at him, waiting to hear his second reason. Secondly, Jake, you don't seem to me to be in any sort of condition to deal with all this alone. I'm afraid you'll end up doing something daft. What, like, accept all this money? Okay. Now we can
immediately.
Yeah, we can talk about the Germans or the disease, or we can stop talking to him. What do you want to
do? Absolutely bring up the Germans. Make sure he knows exactly what he's gotten himself into.
You're like, speaking of doing something daft. Reginald said, if it's a lot of money, I can't see what your mistake could have been. Do anything for a lot of money? I mean, come on. Can't help but laugh at your friend's reaction. Although you've already recounted what transpired in Zanzibar, you now tell him about Meyer and the strangeness of the circumstances in which he sought you out, first in Africa and then immediately on your return to England. Well, I don't think you have any sort of legal obligation to him because of the money. And besides, you're fulfilling your side of the bargain by constituting your research. If it turns out to be as new and dangerous as you think, you can always make it public, and there won't be much left for Meyer anyway. Reginald's reasoning is actually fairly sound, but nevertheless, you cannot share his optimism entirely. You doubt that this agreement will come to any such easy resolution. What are your thoughts on the disease? It seems to me, from the symptoms you've described, to be a strain of plague, but many, perhaps too many, incongruous details. We might turn out to be a new type of bacterium, perhaps something else. New theories are always emerging in our area of study. You're not in agreement. That's why it's so important to speak with Bezhernik. Let's take a nap. Before getting some wet, let's eat some of this food brought by that uniform girl just now. Reginald covers a big silver platter and releases a cloud of wonderful smelling steam. For once, you decide to join your gormandizing companion in his repast before settling down into your comfortable bunk. Once more, and for the whole trip, sleep refuses to treat you kindly. Cannot stop thinking of Zanzibar, of Meyer, and of the disease. Every train of thought breeds new mysteries. You only hope that Bezhernik can give you the answers to these questions, which are driving you mad. Opening your eyes, the first thing you see is Reginald. He's reading a book and chewing something. He smiles when he sees that you're awake. He was about to speak to you when there's a loud ringing. Ship is entering Rotterdam Port. 6 experience points. Man, experience points were so rare when we were in the army, and now that we're out of army, it's just like, here's 1,000,000 more experience points. You walked over here.
You know what? Part of me is sitting there going, "Yeah, this is a thing. It's gonna be." But this feels like they're just like giving you the ammo and health packs right before things go bad.
Oh yeah, I mean, sure. Coach driver shouts something to you in hard German accent, and you look out the carriage window. Finally leaving Rotterdam behind, and after a while you make out the first signs of the outskirts of Delft. The money given to you by the Germans, you have no trouble finding great lodgings near the university. It's a fine building, and Reginald is already at the window scoping the best spots to eat. There are indeed various places on both sides of the canal. Wow. So you're feeling excited as if at the start of some pleasurable holiday. You decide to relax and enjoy the moment, rather than dwell on the reality of being caught up in a complex web of intrigue and mysteries. Yeah, sure. You know, you're rich now. You can do these things.
I'm surprised he didn't just pass along all the information he had to a bunch of like interns and just be like, "You guys figure it out. I'm rich."
I mean, that's what he said his plan was originally. He's like, "I'm going to start 5 research projects." You unpack and organize the few things you brought with you, and while Reginald takes care of the formalities related to your accommodation, you decide to go back straight to university and try to see Bezhernik. As you leave, you close the door behind you. It does not seem very solid. Don't know why we're mentioning that. Maybe, I don't know. It could be any number of reasons. Having studied a map of Delft, you know it's pretty straightforward to get to the university from where you're staying. Walk a few streets and you'll find yourself at the steps that lead to the college. So we can either ask the university administrator, "Hey, tell me where Dr. Bezhernik is," or we can say, "Hey, tell Dr. Bezhernik I'm here to see him."
The first.
He shows you the office of Dr. Martinus Bezhernik. You're in such a state of agitation, you feel almost as if you're a teenager about to go on a first date. Man, we're so gay. You knock and enter the office. Professor Bezhernik recognizes you and immediately welcomes you warmly. "As soon as I heard your English accent, I knew who you were." The professor offers you a tour of the college, and you take the opportunity to see the laboratory where you will be working together and exchanging ideas over the following days. Bezhernik is friendly, but he's clearly avoiding talking about the reason why you're here. Professor Bezhernik's quiescence continues to exasperate you over the days that follow. Every morning, you make your way to the laboratory where you spend a few hours with him or alone when he has lectures. You study various diseases and discuss theories together without ever explicitly discussing that disease. Every time you bring it up, Bezernik immediately changes the subject, but since it's clear that much of the research you're doing has many things in common with the African disease, you decide not to force the issue for now. Time in Delft is fast beginning to follow a routine. Reginald often comes with you to the laboratory, but most of the time he wanders around the city enjoying its culinary traditions, about which he gives you enthusiastic nightly reports. Sometimes you go out with him to eat, but you often have a strange and unpleasant feeling you are being watched. You're trying a traditional stamp pot, which Reginald has been ranting about for days. Bezernik is busy at the university, and Reginald is away for a few days visiting the Hague, which is not that far away. Once again, you are feeling observed. When you look behind you, there is nothing. Perhaps only a shadow. You notice someone sitting a few tables away, dressed very stylishly. He's brazenly staring straight at you. It's Meyer. We can go over and say, like, hey, buddy, how's it going? Or we can be like, oh, shit, and, like, try to pretend we don't see him.
It's his money. It's his money that we're using. Absolutely, just say hi.
Move over to where Meyer is sitting. Dr. Huntington, what a pleasure. Will you join me for supper? Once seated, a few moments pass in silence. He is measured and calm. Seems to be toying with you. Dr. Huntington, we are satisfied with your decision to collaborate with Bezernik and the steady progress being made. Certain details, however, interest us in particular. Looking at you straight in the eye, his smiling coolness portrays disquieting undertones, and every word seems to contain a veiled threat. We have eyes and ears everywhere, Dr. Huntington, but it's not enough. We require a return on our investment. No final results as yet. Rather an update on the current state of your research. I feel repugnant, said his menacing tone. However, you've accepted that money, so you can't just back out. I mean, you can, but... Pathogenic agent smaller than a bacterium. The idea is disturbing, but the research that you and Bezernik have been conducting on sick tobacco leaves continues to confirm the seemingly absurd hypothesis. Bezernik has already chosen a name for it. Virus. Can you believe it?
Ooh. So, you think the tentacle monster that was in the ocean and the weird like dark magics we saw in chapter 1 will return here in chapter 2, where the best we have done is gotten rich and enjoyed a vacation to Holland?
I mean, to be fair, if it's really saying that we're the ones who are inventing virology, I think we've done pretty well for ourselves.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Good point.
And we've met Alexander Fleming, so, you know. Didn't he invent penicillin? I can't remember. He did something along those lines. Seems almost like
we're gonna name check this.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what Fleming did. I know he is a scientist of some repute. Maybe he's our good guy. Maybe he's our Alexander Fleming. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, he's the guy who discovered penicillin. Is penicillin the solution? It's
How'd you stop Cthulhu? Bread bowls.
Yeah. No one thought of that.
Fair enough. I don't think I've ever seen that happen in media. That would be novel, if nothing else.
Yeah. He's almost more like a machine in the way it reproduces, attacking cells and using them to multiply, than a biological organism. Many of the anomalous aspects that have troubled you since Ansvar are beginning to make some sort of sense. Research has come to a critical phase, and Bezernik is invigorated and beginning to show some emotion for the first time. I think the time has come for our discoveries to be made public, Dr. Huntington. The world of medicine will never be the same. Bechernik has started the process of publication, but will take time before it's verified and peer-reviewed, so to use this time for a short break. Recently been taking long, reflective walks around Delft, trying to tally the results of your research with the pathology of the East African disease. Chief among your current concerns is resolving the question of the means of transmission and spread of this so-called virus. Virus? What is this thing? It's totally new, so who knows how to pronounce it? Virus? Voidros? Virus?
Virus.
Despite spending...
you had it.
Virus. Despite spending time at the epicenter of this disease, you've had no symptoms, or at least not of the type you observed there. Does this mean this mysterious virus has different effects on different people? Perhaps a single virus can even give rise to different diseases? So you're wandering near the cathedral, thinking about all these strands of the puzzle. You come across a small boy selling newspapers. Something catches your eye on the front page, so you buy a copy. Well, left a few words and expressions in Dutch, so you can't really understand the article properly, but you understand that it is an article about you and Bechernik's research. Skimming the article, you see it mentions the university, the professor, and some of his colleagues. There is no trace of your name, however. It is certainly puzzling. Why would Bechernik have kept your name out of the reports? What motivation could he have? It's very strange, because you would never have taken him for an opportunist. Then there's the question of Zanzibar. Since the moment you arrived, the professor has continuously avoided the subject. Despite using ideas and evidence gleaned from your experiences, you haven't once discussed it openly. The colors of Delft soften as the shadows lengthen and the evening falls. As you walk back to your lodgings, you reflect on what your next move will be. Entering the apartment, you immediately smell Reginald's cooking. Fall into an armchair and tell your friend you aren't hungry. Your appetite has been ruined by this discovery. You're mulling over plausible explanations when there's a knock at the door. Who is it? I'm looking for Dr. Huntington. Recognize the voice. It's Meyer. Reginald turns to look at you questioningly, but you're already on your feet and moving closer to the door. So we can open the door to talk to Meyer, or we could talk to him through the door like a little coward.
But Meyer's a friend and maybe roommate. Totally can trust Meyer right now.
Oh, yeah. Open the door to find Meyer's smiling face. He asks if you'd like to accompany him for a drink.
He's going to make us pay for that drink.
Yeah, I love a drink. We'll accept. Reginald watches you with a look of confusion as you get your things and leave with Meyer. You go together to the nearby pub and he buys you a drink to, as he says, congratulate you. We are very satisfied with your work so far, Dr. Huntington. Your handling of our investment has proven extremely fruitful. Meyer cuts off your objection with a rapid hand movement. I imagine you were disturbed by the most recent development, but then again I'd always thought a man like you would be more interested in the results rather than fame. Is that not so? Try to remain impassive as you become aware of how closely he's scrutinizing you. Bechernik wasn't exactly happy either, but he understood why it was necessary to leave your name out of the press. As I hope will you. The important thing is that you've got great results. You've worked for us and you've been duly compensated. Meyer is speaking in allusions again without saying anything explicitly. His message is perfectly clear. He wants you to leave Delft without seeing or speaking to Bechernik. Meyer leaves you no chance to reply. It seems your German backers gave Bechernik no choice but to leave you out of the publication of your results. Reginald agrees with you. You are left frustrated and angry. Ignore them, old boy. Yes, you will. You will ignore their warning and speak to Bechernik first thing tomorrow morning. Parasite agents. Let's see.
We're gonna get our friend killed because we went against our German sugar daddy.
I mean, that seems like our general strategy in all things. Opening your eyes, you're immediately filled with determination. Do-do-do. Do-do-do. Hopes and dreams. You're going to confront Dr. Bechernik and find out exactly why he was compelled to do what he did. You have breakfast quickly and consider what you will need to take to assert your position. So
I found this. It's mine.
We can take the briefcase containing all the research we've done. Or we could just take some words and just be like, I'm gonna wag my finger at you and tell you've been a very bad boy, Bezhernik.
Oh, we're gonna lose that research if we take it.
Yeah, that's how I
If we
feel
don't
about it
take
too.
We're gonna lose that research. I like how we were just totally fine with being friends with this guy right up until like fame comes into play. Now we're an absolute asshole all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's just like, come on, my dude. All right, we're gonna take our research. We want that stuff handcuffed to our wrist so it's not stolen, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we did, didn't we?
Yeah, you pick up your briefcase. You're comforted by the weight of the paper inside. It contains the only real tangible proof of all the work you've done together and of your relationship with the professor. Clasping it tightly, you leave the flat. Great. Nothing's going to happen to this. It's just that important. As you're walking to Bezhernik's house, you go over and over in your mind the words you used to explain your position. Although the general idea remains the same, you make some mental edits until you come up with the best possible phrasing for what you want to say. Reaching his house, you pass by 3 young men laughing and joking around on the street outside. Look like 3 friends returning from a night of revelry. Remembering times like those, you smile and feel a little envious. Straighten your coat in front of the door and knock. A butler calls for Bezhernik, but when he comes to the door, his face carries an expression of bewilderment. Good morning, who are you? So, we can get mad at him, because he's making fun of us. Or we could be like, what? What in the world's going on? And ask for an explanation.
Let's try to do the good guy thing of be, slightly, less immediately toxic to this guy.
Bezhernik, it's me, your friend, who you've worked with for like 2 months or whatever. Do you mean to say you don't know me? Bezhernik appears in earnest, even somewhat irate. I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not quite sure that I'm quite sure I've never met you in my life. There must be some misunderstanding. Now, if you please, I'm a very busy man. The butler and another servant approach, and the doctor pushes you slightly towards the door as if shooing away some kind of annoying insect. Turn your body and try to wedge yourself there before the door can close. You must try to speak with Bezhernik. It cannot end like this.
God damn.
Okay, we can pull the notes out of the briefcase. We can use our speechcraft to try to explain ourselves, or we could just start punching people.
Go out swinging.
Okay, but our fight is bad. We have very high speechcraft.
Yeah, you know what? But we also just got like dumped off of the modern virology science. Like I would assume we'd be pretty upset, but also we are bad at fighting.
Yeah.
You know what? Speechcraft. Let's not get ourselves beaten down.
All right. Success. Zanzibar. I contacted you months ago to tell you about a terrible epidemic spreading in Zanzibar. Bezhernik looks at you. You recount the whole story of your meeting and collaboration together with words chosen carefully, but also hastily. It's impossible that he remembers nothing of this, so you demand an explanation. Sir, I do not understand your intentions, but there must be some kind of terrible misunderstanding. Appears that Bezhernik is considering your words, weighing out the possibilities, but then he comes to some sort of decision, shakes his head, and asks you to leave, and closes the door behind you. You stare at the closed door. You realize that it would be pointless to insist to knock again. If Bezhernik has answers, you certainly won't get them through force. Yet he is clearly hiding something. You recognized in him a fellow seeker of truth, so you know he isn't just in it for the money or the fame. Maybe Bezhernik is being controlled by someone, or perhaps you really are losing your mind. That's right, all I did was eat delicious meals this whole time. I didn't do any virology study.
Chapter 2. And then we got screwed.
You clutch your briefcase to your chest firmly. No! Here's the tangible and unequivocal evidence that you're not going crazy. Perhaps the only proof you have left, in fact. You've been walking lost in thought for some time when you suddenly catch a movement out of the corner of your eye. Turning, you see 3 men you had seen outside Bechernik's house. Is it possible they are following you? You stop at a newspaper stand, pretending to be interested in the papers, to gauge their reaction. They also stop nearby, and once you start walking in, they do too. This is no coincidence. Over the months you've spent working with Bechernik, you have had ample opportunity to get to know your way around Delft. Now you decide to use this knowledge to your advantage. You will try to lose them, or else lead them into a situation you confront them more easily.
Throw money at them.
Okay, we're at the map. So we can choose to either face our pursuers, or 1 against 3, you wouldn't stand a chance, better run away as long as you can.
You know what? Yes. I think fleeing might be the safer option.
You're alone, and there are 3 of them, so you decide the confrontation's not your best option. Just ahead, there's a narrow alleyway. You take it, pick up your pace to a run, and then turn at the first road that crosses it. Continue taking random turns and accelerating, hoping to lose them, but to no avail. You can hear their footsteps behind you. Now they've started running. It's become a real chase. So we can either change strategy and run towards the suburbs, or we can continue with our strategy of like making random turns in the city center.
Running in a big circle. They'll never find us now. The strategy's worked so far.
Okay. Continue with the same strategy of trying to lose them in the narrow, labyrinthine streets of the city center. Every time you turn around to see where they are, they seem closer. Your breathing is becoming labored. Perhaps it wasn't the best strategy after all. If you don't do something soon, they will catch up. Okay. We can use our agility to sprint. We can use our observation to study the layout of the local area to find an advantage. Or we can just go, help, help me, please.
Observation has been our greatest fighting style. We will look for another hole.
Success. Without slowing down, you scan the area looking for anything that could help you in your escape. In the middle distance, there's a cafe, and beside the rear entrance, there's this tall stack of crates. As you pass, you tug on one of the crates near the bottom of the stack, making them all collapse in all directions and block the alleyway. No, it won't stop them, but it should slow them down a little. Now that you have succeeded in gaining a little ground on the men chasing you, it's time to think of a strategy for getting away from them definitively. Okay. We can, again, try a last just burst of pace to surge ahead with agility. We can ask the police for help. We can head back into the maze of alleyways to seek refuge, or we can seek refuge in the cathedral. Surely they wouldn't mess with us on hallowed ground.
I mean, we're not really all that fast, are we?
Nope. We have 0 points in agility. That has been our dump stat. We're really slow.
We were a really bad soldier. Yeah. Let's see if they'll mess with the church.
Okay. Reach the square of the cathedral and immediately run inside, but so do the men following you. Luckily, though, there's a mass, and the church is full of people. Move more slowly among the faithful, trying to be as inconspicuous as possible. After a while, you see the 3 men have given up and gone away. You wait for a while to be sure, then you head back to your flat. That's the power of God.
I'm so surprised that worked.
You finally reach the front door. You're still out of breath. You manage to escape, but you feel far from safe. Burst open the door and stride into the flat. Although you immediately feel safer, you lock and bolt the door. This is not the time for complacency. Reginald is startled by your agitation. Jake, what is it? You're scaring me. Get your breath back and reassure your friend. You decide not to tell him for now about the men following you. It would only distract from your current priority, the lack of evidence of your research for the scientific community. You must decide today where to start. Okay, yeah. We got an achievement for keeping a hold of our research.
Hooray! Oh, a victory that actually feels like a victory.
Yay!
Nobody died.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so we can go and talk to the scientific community, assuming that fellow scientists will, of course, listen to a colleague in need. Or we can go to the local rag and start a scandal about Dr. Bezhenik.
That's a super difficult one, actually. What would be the most British answer to this?
Well, Britain is known for their lax libel laws. Or maybe it's the really strong libel laws. I don't know. Anyway, there's a long history of tabloid hit pieces in Britain.
You know what? All right. Take that, Bezhenik. You cad. You swine.
Yeah. Fuck that guy. We've made inquiries and now have an appointment at Grothmarkt, the market square, with a group of journalists. You have decided the best solution is to put the whole situation into the public domain, even at the risk of creating a scandal. With only 5 journalists present, they give you looks which portray their differing approaches. 2 of them seem curious, and the others are very skeptical. You recount the facts of the case, and you can see that for many of them the story, a bit true, seems unappealing. Do you have any evidence? I'm not going up against these professors without something solid. They'd have us for breakfast. Pick up and open your briefcase without saying a word and begin to pass the papers around to the journalists. Suddenly, they are all smiles. Even the skeptics appear to have warmed to the news. It looks like good stuff. I don't understand any of it, though. Might as well be hieroglyphics. And for all you know, you could have stolen them from Bezhenik. After these last words, you again see a change in the journalists' attitudes. Even those who had initially seemed curious feel doubtful, perhaps a little frightened. Something, however, keeps your eyes on them as they walk off, particularly something in the behavior of the journalist who so rudely challenged you. So we can use our observation to watch for clues in the way he moves, or we can ignore the journalists and be annoyed at how much they suck.
Observation. Observation has never failed us.
Success. There's something odd about his attitude. At one point he turns to look at you and smiles, making a gesture with his hand to indicate you are crazy. His mouth is laughing, but his eyes are not. Rather, they are watching you carefully. You're suddenly aware that there's something military-like about his bearing. He definitely doesn't carry himself like a journalist. As an ex-soldier yourself, you recognize when someone's pretending to be a civilian. It seems you cannot make any progress whatsoever, neither here nor from the public opinion in general. It will be a while yet before the consequences of what you and Bezhenik discovered become known to the public. And you obviously can't wait around for something like that to happen. You're disappointed and angry. You've been mocked and ridiculed. How can you possibly put up with such a situation? This thought in your mind, you leave the market square. Okay, apparently we're doing everything, so we're gonna go talk to the scientists now. After weighing it up, you determine the best thing to do now is to appeal directly to Delft's scientific and medical community. Thus you return to the university and meet with the rector, Van Vermeer, who in turn arranges a meeting with the medical board for that same afternoon. Feeling nervous and on edge about presenting your case in front of all these staid and suspicious professors takes you back to your student days, and although you do have the strength of your convictions, the accusing attitudes of these men make you feel strangely guilty. Begin recounting your side of the story regarding Bezhenik's research, explaining your discoveries in Zanzibar and their role in the subsequent results of your collaboration. You close with an account of the bizarre encounter with Bezhenik after the publication of your work. Dr. Huntington, if these allegations of yours are most serious, Dr. Bezhenik, who's not here with us today, denies not only your involvement, but even that he knows you. Why exactly would a microbiologist be working with a doctor on this kind of research? Do you have any evidence to support your version of the events? Finally, be able to dissolve the cold skepticism with your facing. You open your case and start showing them your copies of the notes. Those notes prove nothing, Doctor. With a little specific knowledge and medical competence, you can easily have written them after reading Bezhenik's recent article. Moreover, why would our esteemed microbiologist have the need to contact a local doctor? Now the professors are beginning to mutter among themselves in consternation, and you are left speechless. You didn't expect the authenticity of your notes to be challenged. It's clear to you in some way. It's clear to you in some way. Led them to this doubt, but maybe you can still convince some of them. So we can get angry at people who are denying our evidence, or we can use our speechcraft to try to convince those who are still undecided.
Speechcraft, baby. We got this.
Yeah, that's right. Please, gentlemen, we're all scientists here. Instead of making assumptions, I would like you to examine the empirical evidence well. Please take a look at these notes before drawing your conclusions. The professor's nearest to you takes the papers you're holding out, looks at them carefully, and then passes them to Van Vermeer. These papers may have been procured in various ways. You could even have stolen them for all that we know. This does not tend to amount to proof of your testimony. Van Vermeer's decisive influence.
Curious.
Oh, yeah? What? Curious. Oh, Van Vermeer's decisive influence on this assembly leaves little room for doubt. It's clear you were not going to succeed, but you were at least able to plant a seed of uncertainty in the mind of the first professor who saw your notes, and he regards you now with a look of silent comprehension. I decided to leave these pompous fools and head to the laboratory. Arrive at the laboratory. Nobody's... Oh, yeah. What? But aren't we? Aren't we?
Aren't we supposed to be trying to, like, just solve this? Like, we're going out of our way to try to, like, get our name recognized. I got a feeling that, like, we do have, no matter what, the last laugh, as we just infected, like, everyone.
That's right.
At that academy.
That's right. The virus does different things to different people, as we've determined. You arrive at the laboratory. Nobody's currently using it, so the door's locked. You try without success to force it open. On closer inspection, it seems the door's been reinforced following a recent break-in. But you will not be deterred so easily. What? Okay. So we can take a heavy bust from a plinth in the corridor and just bash the door down. We can steal the keys from the reception desk. We can break a window and go in through that way. Or we can try to find the one professor who seemed to understand what we were talking about and see if he will open the lab for us.
Well, the first couple options seem extremely dumb. Let's go get the other guy.
Retrace your steps back along the corridor until you come to where the professors are still milling about in the entrance to the hall. It's about the professor who at least gave you the benefit of the doubt. Waiting until he is alone, you go up to him and tell him that you need to get into the laboratory. After only a moment's hesitation, he leads you to his office where he gives you his copy of the keys. That was okay, sure. It like gave us a key and then immediately said you lost an item because we immediately used the key. It's like thanks, I guess. Get to the laboratory door, you check that no one's watching and slip the key in the lock and enter. Looking around, someone gives you a strange sensation. We can use our observation to figure it out, or we could just say, fuck this laboratory. I tried very hard to get in, but now I don't care.
Observation never fails.
That's right. You know that the laboratory has been closed since you and Bezernik finished your research and you began writing up your results, yet all around you there are unmistakable signs the laboratory is still in use. On closer inspection, you notice that the test tubes contain more or less the same samples and chemicals that you had been using. Someone's carrying on with your research. You know it can't be Bezernik, busy as he's been with the publication, nor any of the laboratory technicians who have long been reassigned to other senior researchers. I can't comprehend who could be using your research nor why. Feel your ire rising once again. You've been cheated out of months of arduous work and your results have been appropriated. You must put a stop to them. We can use our medicine skill to destroy the laboratory. or Or we could just say, well, this is stupid. I do want to cure this disease, so I'll have to find another solution.
Jake Huntington, actual villains.
I mean, dog eat dog world of academic publications is a harsh mistress.
Oh man, part of me wants to destroy the lab just because of, it's funny, but we are trying to stop a virus here.
Yeah. Suddenly there's a noise behind you. Someone's noticed your presence. Two large burly men, perhaps from the campus security, grab you and unceremoniously throw you out of the main entrance. Vector's waiting for you there. Dr. Huntington, I must inform you that if you ever dare to show your face here again, you won't even get a foot inside. Walk away unhesitatingly from the university. You know full well that your connection with this place is over forever. Now you must think of an alternative strategy. Alone against the world, it says. But we have our gourmand friend. We're not alone. And we have Meyer.
We do have Meyer.
Approaching the door to your flat and closing again behind you, you feel almost as if you're sleepwalking. Suddenly everything you've worked on over the recent months has fallen to ruin around you as if it all had been a dream. Bezhernik's version of events has obviously been accepted as the official truth, to the extent that even you have begun to doubt yourself. In addition to this crushing self-doubt, you feel the weight of a strong, violent, invisible threat at the back of your mind. Holding in your hands the notes which you have placed so much trust, their realness and solidity is the only thing showing that you have not lost your mind or hallucinated the last few months. And yet, what good have they done? You fling them across the room in a rage. Perhaps you're not mad, but paranoid? Is what you are feeling now only anger and frustration, or is this threat real? I'm in trouble, and I feel I may have put you in danger, too. Reginald's listening to you carefully as you recount and explain recent events and the suspicions you've accumulated. And then you tell him of your fear that you may be suffering from paranoia. I wouldn't call it paranoia. It just sounds like caution to me. I won't complain about leaving these Dutch snobs and getting back to the comfort of London. Besides, they're utterly clueless about meat pies. Don't you worry. I'll be in London before you have time to put the belly back on. Reginald laughs heartily. All right, old boy. I don't mind admitting that I'm looking forward to being back in England. You embrace your friend and then accompany him to the ticket office. Only once you have seen him with the ticket in hand walking up the gangway of the boat, you turn back to the flat. Perhaps you should be doing exactly the same thing in Reginald and getting back to London. After all, Delft has nothing left to offer you. You're reflecting, wondering whether it's really worth it to insist on your share of the credit for the discoveries with Bezhernik. Is it really time to make ego-driven decisions? Furthermore, if your best chances lie in proving your case in the academic sphere, would it not make more sense to try again in an environment where you still have some reputation, that is to say in London? You no longer have any responsibilities or ties here. You immediately start packing your belongings in preparation to leave. The money's still at your disposal. It shouldn't be hard to get a place on the next steamer for London. You will have time on the trip to plan carefully your next course of action. You may even persuade the University of London to enter into competition with Delft. Yeah.
I have all this research. Let's take it to my neck of the woods and counter research my old lab. That never backfires.
You're finished packing your bags, but you can't get these paranoid thoughts out of your mind. Even without any definite evidence to back up your suspicions, you cannot help but feel tangled up in a web of conspiracies. Procedure. You need only go back to the basics of procedure. The only remedy for the physical and mental chaos the last few days is to return to the discipline of your military training and logically evaluate your best course of action. What?
Go back to the military.
You will return to London. Given the uncertainty of your situation and the possible risks, you should try to identify the people watching you and throw them off your trail. And if it turns out that no one is watching you, you will at least take all due precautions. In spite of everything, this disciplined thinking seems to momentarily calm your nerves. You just need to focus. As you close the last bag, someone knocks at the door. Approach the door, but do not open it immediately. You ask who it is, and a voice with a heavy North African accent claims to be a messenger. So we can hide, scared of the messenger, or we can check the door and see what he has for us.
I feel confident that this is another friend that will do us no harm.
That's right. Cautiously open the door just enough to see it's there, but not so much as expose yourself to any risk. Waiting there is a black man with a scarred face wearing a robe that looks much too small for him. He hands you a note. Messenger. A message from Mr. Huntington. You take the note from the hands of the man who looks at you with a slightly idiotic smile. You thank him, he nods. Second, you seem to catch a strange twinkle in the man's eyes. It's over an instant. It only been a trick of the light or your imagination. Right away, you sit down and begin to read the unexpected message. Jake, this is the second time I'm writing to advise you. Hope that the fulfillment of the predictions of my first message has convinced you of my good intentions. You do not know me, Jake, but I'm a friend, and the time has come to warn you. You shiver involuntarily. You had completely forgot about the mysterious message which you received in Zanzibar. I can imagine that you already started noticing strange things happening around you and must have had many suspicions. I can confirm for you now that these are indeed justified, and that you have attracted the attention of a very powerful and very secret cult. This cult counts among its members captains of industry, nobles, politicians, and many other types of powerful people. They only have one overriding objective: total control. They have different ways of gaining it, but there's a plan that they've been pursuing for a very long time. The plan involves the disease. Epidemics are one of their main weapons of control, and you have assumed a key role in their eyes. You must be ready to defend yourself. Signed, a friend. We got 12 experience points for reading this message. You read the message twice. You are quite certain it's no joke, but can you really trust this friend? In light of the latest development, the thought of returning to London is looking ever more attractive. Are we going to trust the informant or distrust the informant?
I feel like that note is very trustworthy on account that it's makes sense that it we're friended here, aren't we?
It's always a good sign when someone goes like, "Hey, all your paranoid delusions, totally real. Just keep leaning into that. Just keep going for it." We'll trust him. We'll carry out your plan as you would.
Start buying canned beans now.
Yeah, exactly. Carry out your plan as you'd already decided, but because of this latest warning, you think it's vital for you to procure a pistol for yourself. Alright, it took away our derringer. Remember having seen a gun shop while your wanderings around Delft. And you find it, but quite a bit further away than you'd remembered. The shopkeeper welcomes you with a smile, and you tell him that you are looking for a small, easily concealable pistol. He shows you various models, and one of them immediately stands out for you at what you're looking for. You buy it and leave. Alright, we've got a revolver, an ordinary civilian gun. You know, just normal civilian stuff.
Did we just pick up a gun in London?
No, in Delft. We're still in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're gonna carry this weapon over the borders and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that was less of a big deal back then, but everything's ready. You need only leave your flat, head to the port, board the ship, and you'll be on your way home. You're about to leave the flat, you hear footsteps on the stairs outside. They stop right by your door. Pull out the gun, hold it ready. Stranger, Dr. Huntington, I must speak with you.
Blam!
They do not even knock. They know full well you're inside and can hear them. You're frozen on the spot waiting. After a brief eerie silence, the door is violently kicked in and 3 men burst in. Okay, we can either fire a warning shot or aim the pistol in their direction and wait.
We don't give warnings here.
Okay, so we're just gonna wait. We're just gonna be like, I got a gun.
Castle doctrine, baby. We're gonna get this done quick.
So, well, see, the problem with the castle doctrine situation is the one that says you fire a warning shot's the only one we're actually pulling the trigger. That's the problem. It's a tough choice.
You telling me we don't have runaway as an option of
No, we don't.
Our to-dos?
Nope, we can shoot or wait. Those are the two options.
Let's fire on them.
Yeah, we bought a gun for a reason. Fire once in their direction. You don't hit them, but you aren't trying to. You just want to scare them and let them know that you are serious. Okay. We can use our agility to escape now that we've scared them. Or we can confront the 3 intruders. Well, we know we're not going to escape with our agility, so I guess we're stuck facing them down.
Blam! And now, I'm serious. Well, so are we. Oh shit, I wasn't that serious.
Damn. Although they do not look military, the 3 men are well built, typical thugs. It's 3 against 1. In the standoff which follows, you studied the 3 men. Didn't have the pistol, they would probably already have attacked you. Then they all make the same movement, running a hand along their belts towards their backs. Suddenly the gestures make clear. Now they're all brandishing, gleaming black truncheons. We can either wait, or we can just shoot one of them to gain an advantage. I mean, they've just pulled weapons on us. I think it's pretty clear that they're going to attack us.
You know what? Yeah. You came into my place with a bunch of clubs. It's time for one of you guys to go down. Let's ruin somebody's life here.
You lost an item. Wasting your time, you shoot the man coming from the right in the leg. He yelps and collapses to the ground. The other 2 are still coming at you. You should know that this time fatally. The third man's to hit you with his kosh, knocking the pistol from your hand. Okay, we can resort to punches, or we can try to get our gun back. Resorting to punches is obviously a fight check.
Let's get our gun back.
Okay.
Is that going to be an observation?
You've been injured. You're trying to get the gun back when a hard kick in the stomach makes you collapse on the floor. You're trying to get up, but he's straight on you straight away. You and the man exchange blows. We can use medicine to hit him in the throat so he can't breathe, or we can just try to punch him in the knees.
Let's throat check him.
Yep. Oh, we failed. Our medicine's not high enough. Tried to land your punch on the man's trachea, but you don't get it right. The man strikes immediately back. You receive a blow after blow to the head. Before long, your vision starts to blur. Finally, the kosh comes down violently on your forehead, and you lose consciousness. Ow. In the golden cage. I love to be in a cage. Wake up still groggy. Try to get up from the bed in which you find yourself, but suddenly feel a painful throbbing in your head. The memories come flooding back. Delft, Bezhernik, the attack. Where the hell are you anyway? Slide out of a comfortable bed of fine linen sheets and look around the room. It's too spacious, pleasant, and in addition to the bed, there's a sitting area and a small bookcase. You're bewildered as if in a dream. This could be the guest bedroom of a stately house. There are no windows, but at the end of the room's a heavy ornate door. You approach the door and try to open it. The handle turns, but the door is locked. We can try to force the door open, or we can call out, "Hello? Hello, I'm in here, hello."
We're still in Holland, which has notoriously weak doors, as we've noticed. We can kick that door open. I trust us.
Okay. You try a few more times to force open the door, but it's no good. It's locked and very robust. Try to give up with the door and explore the room instead. Before long, you've confirmed your initial impressions. Everything is refined and high quality, even better than your home back in London. Occasionally, you return to the door and try the handle in vain. You know, maybe it's changed in the last 5 minutes. You never know. Okay, we could just sit down and decide to just read a book. Or we can use our observation to further explore the room.
Observation has never failed.
Yep.
Medicine has, though.
Yeah, what the hell? Succeed. You scan the room, examining every inch of the walls in search of any opening or clue that might yield further information. You examine the furniture in the bookcase for a second time. Find nothing, however, save the fact the room must be cleaned and tidied fairly frequently. It must have had many guests over a long period of time. You got two experience points for going, wow, there's no dust here. Cool. Sudden noise makes you jump.
Giving out experience points for everything.
The door opens. In silence, you prepare for confrontation. The man enters the room wearing a sort of monochrome kilt, a skull cap, and a strange stone mask. He's carrying a tray of food. You immediately start asking questions, but the man ignores you completely. He puts down the tray and turns to leave. You go forward trying to stop him, but you're suddenly paralyzed by an intense pain in your arm. Only turn your head an inch or two, enough to glimpse the hair-thin needle protruding from your right shoulder. Watching him leave, you notice another man by the door dressed in the same bizarre manner. You can only watch them silently leave and close the door. After a few minutes, the paralysis weakens. Somewhat discombobulated, you pull out the needle and look at the tray, on which are various tasty-looking dishes.
Oh, good. At least they're feeding us well.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna hurry past this page because it's got nudity on it. Several hours pass before anything else happens. The door opens. This time it's a woman who enters. She's dressed identically to the man, bare-chested, skirt, skull cap, and mask. As observant as the clothing is, there is something sacerdotal about it that reminds you of the pictures of Sumerian and Egyptian priests you vaguely remember seeing somewhere. Again, you're dumbfounded by the whole affair, but this time you notice straight away the man is standing at the doorway. You watch as the woman places another full tray of food on the table and takes away the untouched previous one. Whew, alright. We survived. You look at the food and inhale its aroma. The dishes are appetizing and clearly prepared with care. Your stomach grumbles. You haven't eaten for many hours. Do we want to eat this meal? Or should we just say, no, I will not eat the meal, even though this one was given to us by a naked woman?
Well, we've learned to trust our instincts. So, yeah, let's eat the meal.
Be rude. I mean, that woman showed us her titty, you know? And can't just, like, insult her like this. Sit down at the table to eat. If you included that... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
What we've also learned is that we dodged a bullet in the jungle. Knowing now what that this is way more adult than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah. You sit down at the table to eat. You've concluded that if they had wanted you dead, you would have already been killed in some other fashion, so... You tuck in hungrily to the juicy steak and excellent Merlot. They even brought you wine. Damn. It's as delicious as it looks. After a time, you slow down and begin to reflect. The knife which you have been given for the meal is not particularly sharp for a steak knife, but put to someone's throat, it could still be an effective weapon. Furthermore, it seems strange that they would not have considered this still.
Thank you for feeding me. Obviously, I'm going to murder you all now.
So we can conceal the knife to use in the next person who enters the room, or we could just say, they know I'm going to use the knife. I'll just leave it. They're going to be expecting it.
Yeah, take the knife.
Alright, free knife. You move the chair to the chosen spot by the wall, where you can more easily see anyone enter the room, and wait with the knife behind your back. You only fall asleep several times. When the door finally opens, it's the semi-naked woman wearing strange clothes. Which are passed with the tray in front of you towards the table, and as she's putting it down, you leap up and hold the knife to her throat from behind. Turn with her to face the door, using her as a shield. As always, there's a man guarding the door, but you're surprised to see this completely impassive as the damn clay mask he's wearing. When you have a knife point is also strangely calm. She doesn't even struggle to break free. You move forward together, but you manage only a single step before you're once again paralyzed. Woman calmly frees herself, picks up the previous tray, and exits the room. Suddenly you find the paralysis-inducing needle in your thigh. The woman must have jabbed you without you even noticing. Cool.
Great. Lovely.
Many days have passed, even though you have no way of knowing exactly how many. If this absurd imprisonment is to continue much longer, you're quite sure you will lose your mind. Once again, you are lying in bed, thinking after having been woken up. You get up to do some exercise, and as you're doing the last push-up, you raise your head to see something very usual and unexpected. The door's ajar. Yay! We got 16 experience. We got 16 experience points for seeing that there's a door. Yay! You approach the door slowly. You are listening after even the slightest noise, but there's only silence. Try to peer beyond the small gap in the door and the frame, but it's too narrow. You stop to think for a moment. We can thrust it open, or we can open the door slowly and with caution.
We have a knife. We can thrust that door open, you know.
I mean, I assume they took our knife after we tried to stab the woman.
Then
well, I guess let's see. Let's see. Do we? Yeah, we don't have any items anymore, so.
Oh yes. In that case, let's cautiously open the door so we don't get, you know, immediately stabbed with the needle.
You open the door very slowly and silently, inch by inch. In the surrounding silence, every small creak seems to you a deafening screech. Having completed a few inches, you peer out. Seeing an empty corridor, you leave the room immediately. You find yourself in a corridor lined with several doors, all identical to that from which you came. There's wallpaper covering the walls, making it impossible to understand what type of building it is. There's nothing else, only a corridor with 6 doors. Do you want to go in the nearest door or the farthest door? The other 4 doors don't count.
Let's go to the farthest door.
Carefully take a few steps along the corridor and try the farthest door from yours. You grab the handle, but it's locked. We can listen at the door to see if we can hear anything inside, or we can go to another door, because this door sucks.
Ugh. Go to another door.
Yeah, screw this door.
They don't need to know what's into this. Yeah. This door was unfortunately stronger than all the other doors we've seen so far in Holland. We don't need this one.
That's right. Try another door. This time one in the center of the corridor. It's closed. Try the one opposite. The handle turns. The Club of Stone Masks. Rarely, you push the door and enter the room. You find yourself in a large room with a huge library, leather armchairs, and sumptuous furnishings. Looks like a lounge of any of the more prestigious gentlemen clubs in Hollywood. Men and women are sitting around quietly conversing. Though they are dressed in the same bizarre clothes with which you are now familiar, grinning stone masks, kilts, and bizarre little skull cap, their posture and overall bearing seems to identify them as nobility. On their wrists, they all have the same tattoo, a shape reminiscent of an eye. You know that you've seen that tattoo before in Zanzibar. It cannot be coincidence. So they've been watching you for some time. You remember something else. The almost identical symbol you saw in the book about ancient Egyptians in London. What could the connection be? Atmosphere is extremely surreal. They're acting as if you were not even there. Finally, someone notices you. Dr. Huntington, you finally decided to join us. You've
been drugging me for months.
His voice is muffled by the mask. He makes a gesture for you to sit in the nearby armchair. Everyone present turns to look at you through the dark holes in their masks. Please, take off your shirt and become more sexy. On the table in front of you, there's a glass of red wine, which you're sure is of the finest quality. You do not dare take it, but rather listen carefully to the masked man who is speaking to you. Dr. Huntington, let us not get off on the wrong foot. Man, you have many questions, and I assure you, if you make the right choices, there will be a time when you will be given all the answers you seek, and many that, yes, yet you do not. Feel the people in the room staring at you, analyzing you. After spending days in your luxurious prison, you know that you are unlikely to gain anything with a direct attack. Yet there's something familiar about that voice, though it's muffled, its tone and phrasing remind you of one you've heard before. Strange accent, but the distortion makes it difficult to identify. But the height and the body match well. Could this man you were addressing actually be Meyer? So we can insist, like, I want my answers right now, please. Or we can just let him continue to talk.
Let's have him talk. Let's have him talk because maybe we'll learn information about our new BDSM friends.
That's right. Answers will come. First of all, to have them, you must make choices, hopefully the right ones. We do, after all, have at least one objective in common. But I have no room to maneuver, and he is at pains to point that out to you. However, the mere fact that you're still alive means somehow they need you. Let the man continue. We are, let's say, a very exclusive club. Our members come from the elites of many different specialities in different parts of the world. We include nobility, entrepreneurs, and military men, even some like you who are from the world of science. We have been active as a group for a very long time. Our work goes back countless generations. We've always had significant influence in all the major historical events, and now we're close to achieving what could be termed a new level of influence. As you were listening to his words, you wish it were possible to write them off as those of a madman. But you cannot. In fact, they seem to describe a world very close to that which you have been imagining. These damn global elites. Certain resources and unique capabilities allow access to our group. Capabilities such as your own, Dr. Huntington. You're an intelligent man, Doctor. I do not imagine I need to tell you just how many advantages there are for you once you've decided to join us. We've met a new character. Masked Man. Okay, great.
Great description.
For this reason, we have taken care not to let your name become public knowledge. We do not allow publicity for our members. So we can just go ahead and reject his proposal, or we could hear him out.
Yeah, let's see what he's got to say. We've already taken dirty money and a plethora of drugs.
It's true.
Obviously, we're making the right decision.
We're not here to force you, Dr. Huntington, and we will give you some time to consider it. We will see you here tomorrow. In the meantime, please enjoy our hospitality. As he speaks, he's getting up. Several members of the club are already moving towards the door at the back of the room, and he cues behind them. You start in their direction too, but your way is quickly blocked by another masked man. He is silently pointing at the door behind you, the one from which you came, with a particularly muscular arm. So we can leave, or we can decide to provoke him a little.
Is provoking under a skill or
No,
just...
no.
No. Oh, okay. In that case, yeah. Let's make their life slightly more inconvenient.
You're quite certain that the man has no intention of killing you. You stand a few feet away from him and make threatening gestures as if you're going to hit him. Doesn't move a muscle, though. You cannot be sure his face didn't flinch on the mask. You're like, huh? Go punch ya. Huh? Go punch ya. Go punch ya. Huh? Merely raises his arm again, silently and insistently pointing at the door. Defeated, you turn and go back to your room. Man, we're so strong and powerful. Corridor, you find the door to your room open, and going inside, your eyes widen at what you find there. There's a wonderful 5-course feast of fine food, including quail and some other dishes, some you don't even recognize. Only just cross the threshold when the door closes behind you. You need not check to know it's locked again. You awaken from tormented sleep full of terrible nightmares which you can barely remember. You're left with distressing imitations of dark and ominous forms, but any sort of concrete image fades away immediately. You calm down a little. You see the door to the corridor is wide open. You see the corridor and even part of the door which you know leads to the club. See that door is also unlocked. Should we go to the club, or should we go look around somewhere else?
Let's look at the club.
Okay, we gotta join this cult, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Corridor and approach the door.
At this point, we're basically, already part of the rich elite, so becoming a cultist seems like it's just the next step.
Yeah, exactly. The corridor and approach the door. The handle turns easily. Once again, you're in the elegant hall filled with masked people chatting quietly or reading. One approaches you and slips a wine glass into your hand, touches it with her own, and then pours some of her wine onto the black, grinning lips of her mask. Having concluded this bizarre toast, she leaves. Dr. Huntington, please make yourself comfortable. With one hand, he points to an armchair, while the other he gestures to include the whole room. The books, the rich buffet, a small bar, and an area with smoking equipment. Smoking equipment, yes. We're expecting further speeches, but the half-naked men and women ignore you entirely. Okay, we can leave, we can have a drink, or we can take a seat in the armchair.
Take a seat. Enjoy ourselves.
You decide to sink into the comfortable plush of an armchair and observe the various goings-on. Not for the unclothed torsos and unsettling mass, the situation in this room would be almost normal, almost rather banal. Some other people engage in small talk, while others help themselves to the buffet bar or smoke their pipes. Listen to some of the conversations in English nearby, but you're instantly bored stiff by the vacuity and jejuneness of the discussions. Typical of any pub or gentleman's club in London. Indeed, the only real difference between this and a gentleman's club, aside from the shocking state of undress, of course, is the presence of ladies.
Progressive cultist.
Can't help but see it all as a pantomime, some kind of play, but you try to stay alert for clues nonetheless, and you fall asleep only to be woken sometime later by the sound of a bell. Sound of the bell, all the members leave the room. Again, you are surprised, but then after a few moments, the heavily built member of the club reappears and again points to the door. Evidently, you're not allowed to be in the room alone. You go back to your room. Days pass thus. Each time your door opens, the room is available to you, but only when occupied by members of the club. You visit every time. You're welcomed and greeted, but no one speaks to you directly. You have been to the room of the club several times now with the implicit understanding that if you stop going, you'll stop receiving food. Cannot fathom the intentions of these strange people, at least not until you see a series of newspaper article clippings intentionally placed at the entrance of the hall. There are articles about accidents involving supposedly random disappearances of famous people, overturned carriages, fatal beatings by thugs, and arson attacks. The dates and origins of the newspapers from which they have been taken differ wildly. Studying them carefully, you almost want to smile. The message, the threat they imply is clear, crystal clear. Well, Dr. Huntington, what do you think of our club? At this point, it's clear that your only option is to pretend to play along. So we could be bold and say, like, I want to become a member right now. Tell me what I gotta do. Or you can say, I believe I was mistaken. Maybe I am interested in your offer.
We've got to be coy. You know, maybe there's a membership fee we don't know about.
Oh, that's true.
Maybe this is an MLM. Ooh.
Oh, no.
They sell you a stone mask if you...
They give you all this smoking equipment, and then you're like, I don't even smoke a pork butt very often, you know? It's like, why do I need a personal smoker? I don't know. Alright, we'll be cautious. We are pleased to hear that, Dr. Huntington. We knew you'd come around to reason sooner or later. I failed an achievement? Okay. We failed the achievement
hard to guess?
We failed the achievement because we tried to cause some trouble for our captors. The achievement was called Stockholm Syndrome. Oh, hi, dog.
Good. Good. Sounds like we're
doing.
Succeeding.
All the conversation in the room has suddenly fallen silent. All the masks are turned towards you, but you pretend to not have noticed. I suggest you go to your room and get some rest, Dr. Huntington. Tomorrow you will awaken to your new life. Then you will begin to receive some of the answers which you so desire. For the umpteenth time, you watch as the members of the club leave the room, followed by your interlocutor. This time you are left entirely alone. Even the muscular guard is left with the others. Following the advice you've just been given, you head back to your room. Dreams were chaotic and fragmented. You wake up slightly dizzy and tense. On the table there has appeared a folded piece of paper, and on the chair there are clothes in which you awoke here the first time. After dressing, you take a look at the sheet of paper. It contains instructions that tell you when and how to contact the cult. The date mentioned in the text is near. You calculate that you have spent nearly 3 weeks in this prison. You fold and pocket the paper and go out to the hallway. You try the door of the club, but this time it's locked. You try another, but it's also locked. Strange. You try one more door. This time the door opens, and you're immediately struck by the natural light and fresh air. You stumble out, drunk for a few moments on fresh air and liberty. Find yourself on a small, rather sordid alleyway. Coming out on the main road, you see something which lifts your spirit even further. Through a light fog, you see the unmistakable profile, the clock tower of the biggest possible Ben. All this time thinking you were in a club in Delft with a very London atmosphere, you were in London all along.
You'd imagine he would have figured that out via the smell.
That's true. He seems to be very attached to the smell. So we can either just go straight home and go, yay! Or we can try to explore the area around here to try to figure out a little more.
Part of me says, explore the area, but that's not the Jake Huntington we know. Jake Huntington we know would be like, I'm out.
Yeah, we're like, yay, we did it. We joined the cult. Yay. You call a handsome cab to take you to home. Until recording the location of the place where you were confined, you have only a few days to carefully consider your next move. As carriages jostle on London's bumpy streets, you try to reestablish contact with reality. The interminable hours and days spent as captive of the sect have you rather dazed, and you are now in a parallel universe. Alright. Well, this seems like a good place to stop. As our next step, strategies for Judgment Day, will soon be upon us. Let's take a look at art.
Oh, well.
As we go to art time. Oh. Merlot, noodles, safe word. serving all the important things. Varys. All by our little man. Our doctor friend who gave us no credit. Should a child be on the battlefield? Yeah. Oh. Novice cultist. No, now we're a multi-level marketing guy. Yes. We've truly moved on.
Ascended almost.
Indeed.
Up a pyramid shape.
Yes, we're
Like
moving.
the pyramids in the books that we have.
Oh my god, it all comes together.
Books that it all makes sense now.
Oh, it's all coming together. It's all coming together, Jake. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Jake Huntington, what have we done to you? Oh man.
Observation is the greatest weapon. That's what we're learning from this.
Yeah. We failed medicine, we failed fighting, but we have yet to fail an observation check.
Yeah, I've been putting all of our points into observation at this point. We're very observant and very speechcraft. That's the only things we know how to do.
With luck, both of them. Man, we've bought, 2 guns now and have lost every gun we have picked up through this entire adventure?
Technically, we had 3 guns. We also had a Derringer that we never got to fire at anyone. We kept holding on to the ammo, and then suddenly we were no longer in the army, and I guess they took the Derringer back.
Can I keep my field gun as a souvenir? No, you cannot. You failed to shoot it twice and gotten all your friends killed. We're taking your gun license.
I know, right? Well.
Oh.
Well, another wonderful bit of adventure from Jake Huntington here. Soon Judgment Day is coming, so that's gonna be fun. I'm excited to join this cult. I don't know about you.
I feel like we've made all good decisions this time.
Nothing but good decisions. So until next time, let us contemplate what we've learned here. You know, really work it inside of us, figure out what we're going to do as we meet once again next time for some Uncanny Contemplation. Thank you for joining us.
See you guys next time.
Goodbye.